everybody, this is BKC back in Planet Explorers. I've got the framework started to the monorail, and basically what I did is I came out my tunnel. I got my tunnel through the mountain. You can see a pole up in the background right there. That's about how high it was. So what I did is I built a dirt frame. I went this way, and I built a basically just a framework to give me a straight line, so my monorail would be straight and not have all kind of kinks and jerks in it. And I did get a lot of work done on it. I spent all weekend, but I did also spend some time in a crater on my Raven here, and it's quite resource intensive. Build it on the battleship frame size. Even though this Raven is tiny compared to the grid that I had to work with, it's very labor intensive. I got like, I think 14 type 4 fuel cells. I got 4 downward firing front cannons. I think I got 10 thrusters on it, some missile launcher, and 4 front lasers. It's not the most maneuverable thing in the world, but it gets going. We're gonna go. Want to go to? I was shopping at Gertie, buying her. Since she's the only one in the game that sells condiments to make food with. I was doing a little shopping with her, making some rounds. And let me get to the river over here. I'll open this thing up and we can show you what she does. She's real good at crashing the game, that's for sure. Because it doesn't seem like the game loads fast enough for her. That was almost 200 kilometers. Well, she can get up to 200 kilometers sometimes. And it spawns dragons every time. As soon as first time I got into this thing, one of them big dragons spawned behind me. Of course, like I think 2 shots with some missiles, and I think 4 direct hits with those 4 laser cannons, and it basically took it out. But I mean, she is super fast. It's not the most maneuverable thing in the world, but she does fly pretty good. Building with the thrusters, they seem to work a little bit different to the fans. Where the fans just have a max altitude. These, it seems like the higher you go with them, the slower your vehicle is for some reason. So it kind of seems like they work off of like air. So as the air gets thinner, when you go higher, they start losing power. So they work a little bit different, but they're pretty easy to build with. You can scale them, which is pretty cool. Let's turn the lights on. Let's see if we can handle up on some robots with our Raven here. It took 3 versions to get it right, and it still ain't right because the pods on the front. I should have moved them up just a hair, because it needs a lot more weight in the back. The way I got 4 lifting thrusters, it needed I scaled the ones in the back down as much as possible, but I don't know if that has any effect on the thrust. But it needed more. It needs a little more lift in the front and less lift in the back. But so it's got a little bit of drift to it, but I didn't want to just scrap the whole design or move the engine pods. So I just left it like this and basically built it up, with the marble that that I got from building the tunnel. I just took the marble and bought all the aluminum from Hitomi and sold the marble to pay for it. Bought the thrusters from Arturo and then paid for it in marble, because I got like I think 20 stacks of marble. And so yeah, basically the only thing I could not get was the 14 Type 4 fuel cells, but everything else was paid for marble. With the Type 4 fuel cells, I bought I think like 8 of them from Geneb before I ran out of meat. And because when you buy something from him for $7,000, it just disappears. So there was no getting my money back or paying for it with marble. And then I had to build the rest. So, which requires hydrogen, which is like 400 water per fuel cell. So it was pretty resource intensive. Now where are those robots? Them lasers are pretty deadly. And when building with the thrusters, the one thing you might want to remember is you need a thruster for every direction that you want to go. So you like turning, it uses the two right ones, and then the back left one to turn, and then to go the other way it uses the opposite, and then the 2 facing backwards is to slow me down and for reverse, and then uses 4 to go forward. So it definitely I'm trying to work on getting it more use less thrusters, but if you're gonna have a reverse, you gotta have and any kind of like direction in reverse. You almost need 2 for reverse. I tried 1 for reverse, but it didn't even seem powerful enough to slow this thing down, so I had to go with 2. Kind of give me some emergency brakes a little bit. And I wanted to do something a little different on this one. Instead of having landing gear, I couldn't make the landing gear look good. So what I ended up doing was putting like these landing skids, and all you got to do is just put landing gear I got 6 landing gear in there, and I just hit them. I got one right in the middle of those 2 skids, and then one on each corner, and then I just hit them so they you wouldn't see them. So when I come down for a landing, it you know, it looks like I'm landing on skids, but if you notice the thing's slightly above, it never actually touches the ground. That's because the landing gear are right in the corners, but they just they touch the ground, so it always looks like it's kind of hovering. I don't even know if I'll be able to find any robots. Whoa, don't hit the tree. I guess they're not going to spawn now that I got a battleship. That's not good. The dragon really wasn't no thing. I guess we could go pick on the aliens a little bit. They're way across the map. The other thing with this is the fuel. This thing uses massive fuel. I think it has 2.5 million fuel. And just flying across the map a couple of times, it uses it all. So even though it has, it's kind of like a strike vehicle where you, like I'm tired of the aliens attacking my base. So you basically want to set a course and get there, unload your firepower. And if you had to, if you used all your fuel, it wouldn't be too bad of a thing just to set it down before it runs out of fuel and then get into a smaller vehicle and fly home. You know, that would be an option. But I got so much fuel on this thing that it doesn't really seem to be a problem. See, as I drop, it starts going faster and faster. I don't understand why it really does that, but it's kind of fun to fly it real low like this. At over 200 miles an hour. Holy crap! I hit one of the big whales. Now I'm gonna better get my ship back. I gotta put my jetpack back on. Equipment. That scared me.